You've seen these things, maybe even been tempted to buy one. I found 3 major claims made by the companies that make these things and decided to look up the actual science. So I'm going to break down the good, the bad, and the bullshit. Starting with the good, because I always like it when someone isn't lying to me. Claim number 1, strengthens breathing muscles. The Training Mask webpage explicitly states, Respiratory Resistance Lung Trainer allows you to perfect your breath control technique with ease by practicing deep inhalation through the nose and exhaling powerfully through the mouth, or vice versa. You'll be amazed at how quickly you can strengthen your respiratory muscles. So anyway, a study in human physiology took 719 men between the ages of 19 and 24 and subjected them to the 3,000, 9,000, and 18,000 foot settings on the ETM 2.0, while alternating between low, moderate, and high intensity exercises to find out what happens to your lungs when you cosplay as Bane. The results confirm that when you make breathing harder by only allowing air to pass through a coffee straw, your lung muscles do in fact get stronger, and you may look like an idiot. Allegedly. Let's move on to the bad. Improves lung capacity, increases stamina, and enhances overall athletic performance. For those who haven't had to take way too many physiology classes, these terms might sound mundane, but they have very specific meanings. Lung capacity is the total volume available within your lungs. The important part of lung capacity is vital capacity, which is the maximum air that you can breathe in and out at any given moment, because some air is always left behind. This study in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine found forced vital capacity to go down by 1/10 of a liter after training with the ETM, which is admittedly such a small change that it is considered statistically insignificant. But basically, this cohort of college athletes got worse at breathing after strapping $100 worth of plastic to their faces for 6 weeks of lab-supervised torture. I mean cardio. Good times. That kind of shot the whole improving athletic performance in the foot at the same time, didn't it? Onward. Let's see what the research had to say about increasing stamina. Stamina is best measured in the form of VO2 max. That means the maximum amount of oxygen your body can utilize in a given period of time. The more heavily you have trained in aerobics, the higher it should be hypothetically. For example, a high-level marathoner often has a VO2 max around 70 to 85, and the average guy my age would have a VO2 max between 35 and 40. From the same study, we get this result. That might be too small to read, so I'll summarize. VO2 max improved in both the group with and the group without the mask. So, aerobic training works. Imagine that. The difference in improvement between groups was considered by the researchers to not be statistically significant, but I'll give credit where it's due. A couple of points is the difference between just a random guy who can run a marathon and the guy who wins the marathon. Finally, on to bullshit. For those who followed me for a minute, you'll know this is where someone is flat out lying to you in order to get paid an exorbitant amount of money for something that may or may not do anything. Claim number 3, simulates high altitude training. This claim amounts to the idea that restricting airflow is the same thing as reducing atmospheric pressure with which air is pressed across the alveolar border into your blood. That's a bunch of fancy words. Let me explain. Altitude training works by reducing barometric pressure and the total amount of oxygen available in the air around you. This reduces the number of actual oxygen molecules that enter your blood. This in turn forces your body, over a period of weeks to months, to grow more hemoglobin to capture every available oxygen molecule. When you return to sea level, all that extra hemoglobin is just jonesing for all that sweet, sweet oxygen and high air pressure. At that point, your blood oxygen saturation effectively shoots through the roof, giving you a heads up on the competition. Training masks do not simulate low barometric pressure. Training masks do not decrease the oxygen density per cubic foot of air. Training masks do not decrease the oxygen entering your blood. Training masks do not stimulate increased hemoglobin production. Congratulations, you played yourself. On to the final verdict. So, to answer that Shakespearean question in my thumbnail, I'm going to have to go with not to mask. Training masks don't simulate high altitude. They don't significantly improve VO2 max or endurance. They do make your workout effectively harder because you're basically wearing a breathalyzer test through your full workout, which might strengthen lung muscles slightly. But there's better, cheaper ways to do that if you actually need it. And here's a hint, you probably don't. So save your $100, train smarter, and if you really want altitude training benefits, you're going to have to go to altitude. Or buy a low pressure chamber, which is really expensive. Speaking of fitness shortcuts, that sound too good to be true. Drop a comment below for any gadgets or quick fixes you want me to review. Next week, I'm going into ab simulator belts. You know, the ones that give you six-packs while you're on the couch. And not that kind of six-pack. And if you're wondering about that viral Japanese walking method everyone's talking about, I already put it head-to-head with 10,000 steps. You can check out that video to see which one actually works. Subscribe so you catch every myth I bust.